What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Brock.
Mike.
And I'm Brock, and today we're starting off the Sudden Death 2094 set with Asylum, Psycho, and Frenzy. Two names that probably won't pass a PC check in 2023.
And also the introduction of Larry Snelly.
Larry Snelly. He had a short run with the game, but I think a pretty impactful one. I know I was a big fan when I first saw the work.
Yeah, when I was at one of the Galacticons when Tom said, "Hey, I got a new artist. You guys want to see it?" And there was about four or five of us there. I can't remember who was there. I remember, Rob Nadon and myself were there, and he showed us Raven,
Okay.
and it just blew everybody's mind.
Mm-hmm. He kept that cartoony style that Chuck had, but added realism to it, I think
Yeah.
is a good way to describe it. And the
Oh,
poses
sorry,
were
not
so
Raven. Dregs. Sorry, Dregs.
drags, okay. But like the poses were so dynamic. Everybody was doing some kind of action pose of some kind. I mean, look at Frenzy here.
Yeah.
Jumping off the page. Psycho. I mean, for a big fat guy, this is probably as much as you could do with him to make him look like he's doing some kind of action. But yeah, we'll get into that as we go through. But it was a nice change. I love Chuck, but it's kind of cool. Like whenever you see a change and freshen things up a little bit.
And Chuck's last two sets were just kind of almost phoned in sometimes, it seemed.
Yeah, yeah. Larry Snelly, how many sets was he? He was only around for what, 4 or 5 sets?
I think so.
Maybe not even that many. Yeah, who would you like to talk about first?
We'll get Psycho out of the way,
All right, Psycho.
formerly Man Mountain.
Mm-hmm. He had that killer defense again. All comebacks on level 1. Whether he was going to get you on level 1 or level 2, depending on your dice roll. He had 3 comebacks on level 2, but he did have a down, which I think was new over Man Mountain.
Yeah, I don't think Man Mountain. I can't. I honestly can't remember. It's been
I don't
30
remember
years
either.
since I've used that card.
But I feel like this card was much less annoying to beat. They did up the pin a lot, though. His pin is a 10-7. So he's tough to knock down, but if you knock him down, he's pretty much down for the count.
Yeah, the this uh, this was one of the first things, first big downgrades on a character
Mm-hmm.
because the Norse gods weren't a top tier tag team, but they were good enough to maybe throw in an upset here and there.
Yeah, they held their own against the Greek gods.
Yeah, these guys got into a feud with Astro Turk and Black Hole Bart and barely held their own at times.
Yeah, they had the big tag finisher at +2, but other than that, their offense is pretty much non-existent. They both have 2 moves straight through, not even with a choice, to level 2 on level 3 offense.
Yeah.
Which is pretty bad. But I mean, I guess that's just how it goes.
Yeah, not every new card has to be a solid upgrade. This was a big downgrade.
Because that happens too. I mean, and like look at the real world of wrestling. Like a
Yeah.
guy comes in, we're real high on him, promoters pushing them, and then all of a sudden they decide, let's go a different direction. And next thing you know, they're chasing the 24/7 title around.
Yeah, and you're looking at it going, okay, what memorable matches did I have with those guys? I had none.
Me neither. I had fun with them. I liked them better than the Norse gods.
Oh, I hated them. This is
Really?
I despise this team. I actually I liked the Norse gods. I hated
I just thought
using
these guys were more fun.
them. I absolutely hated using
He's got a turkey leg.
them. My first chance to retire them, I think I might. I think they lasted maybe 2 years after their. I'm not too sure how long they were supposed to last.
As these characters, let's see. I have the wiki pulled up here. Um, Frenzy hung around to 2099, and Cycle Hog was around until uh 2104.
Yeah,
So he got it up. He got another new card. He became Cycle Hog, and then he hung around. So he lasted about 5 years longer than Frenzy.
yeah. I probably used them maybe longer, but they became the super enhancement talent.
Yeah.
You know, they just became the hero version of Meteor Storm.
I can see that.
And every so often, with the Norse God, you'd use them in singles. With these guys, I don't think I used them in singles.
No, their cards are definitely not built for that. They played kind of well off each other, with one being like the super defensive guy and the other guy being quick that you kind of can hang in there. But separate them. If Psycho can't get a break, he's done. And Frenzy, if you get him down, he's on his level 3 defense. Down, hurt. Down with a tag and leave. Down, pin, hurt. So
With a 7.
he's a 6-3. He's not as bad.
Oh, okay.
But neither one of them have a singles finisher option. Just have psychotherapy tag.
Yeah, they both had that, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was kind of rare at the time, if I remember right.
Yeah, I
But,
think them and the Keepers of the Stone had it.
okay. Where both partners had the big move.
Yeah. And that +2 is not really a big move, but when you're feuding
No.
Black and Black Hole Bart,
It's a killer. But let's okay, Psycho's charts, ropes, turnbuckle, and death jump are all a C, and his ring rating is a B. So that's pretty brutal. He has a +5 agility.
yeah, that was the first time that happened.
Mm-hmm. But a -4 power.
Yeah.
So I guess he lifts like 600 pounds every time he gets out of bed in the morning. So
Yeah, he's even fatter here.
yeah, he did get bigger. I don't think he can't buckle the straight jacket. It's not that he busted out of it. It's just physically impossible to buckle it. What is his weight listed at here? Let me see.
He'd have
He's
to be pushing close to 6.
yeah, he's 568 pounds.
Yeah.
So that's impressive. He's 6'8" though, too. He's
He's
got some
definitely
weight to carry it
pushing
around.
maximum density.
Yeah. He's a heavy guy. There was always, especially in the earlier era of wrestling, there was always that guy. Every promotion had one. Just a big fat guy that you put in battle royals and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember that the first big, super big fat guy that I could remember was Jerry Crusher Blackwell.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bundy, going back to when he had hair, was solid though. He was big.
He wasn't a big fat guy. He was big,
Yeah,
but he wasn't just a blob.
yeah. Jerry Blackwell was the first super big guy that I remember seeing
Mm-hmm.
from Stone Mountain, Georgia.
The last one I remember was Roadblock from WCW. Remember him?
No,
Yeah, he didn't last very long. I think he was in the Dungeon of Doom for a week or two. Roadblock.
but on Psycho, there, what would you do to upgrade the old Psycho?
Ooh, to pick one thing, I guess just lower his pin.
Yeah,
10-7, that's brutal.
yeah. There's nothing you could do. Even drop it to a 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a 7, I mean, without any finisher added or fatigue or anything,
You're
you're
getting
rolling
pinned
an
by
8.
Meteor Storm.
Mm-hmm. You have to roll an 8 to kick out on the first attempt.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. But I mean, it all makes sense.
Well, when you're that big too, it'd be tough to once you're down.
Mm-hmm. It would take everything you had just to kick out to get
Yeah.
up, you know, so it makes sense.
Oh, it does. I'm not going against it.
Yeah. But if you had to pick just one thing on this card with many flaws.
Yeah. We would both have to agree it's the 10-7.
Mm-hmm. Give him a fighting chance.
Yep. And now Frenzy. See, for me, this one hurt because Lightning was one of my favorites. I actually really enjoyed the Lightning character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lightning was cool. This artwork kind of reminds me of Impulse
Oh, okay.
with the hair and stuff. But yeah, he's not as bad as Psycho, but still pretty terrible.
Did he kept his -4 agility, didn't he?
Yeah, but his powering up to +5.
Yeah, how do you get a plus? How do you become weaker?
He's just so fast. He can't keep up with it. I don't know. He has one comeback on his entire card, and it's on level 2 defense, and it's Frenzy 1.
Yeah. Well, his other one was he only had one on his other card too, and it was on level 2, I think. And it was
Okay.
Lightning 2 though.
Okay, so is that even downgraded?
And his I think he was an AAAB.
He's AACC on this one. So he got worse outside the ring and at death jump. I kind of feel like if you have a -4 agility, you should have at least a B death jump rating, right?
You
Just to be able
should.
to get out of the way, I would think.
But that's one thing too when people talked about um so the death jump, is it you doing the move that you're good at, or do you
I
have
think
the
it,
aim
the
because you're good at defending against it?
I think that's what it is. The rating is your defense against it.
If that's the case, then Man Mountain should be an A.
Right, because he would just absorb it.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody jumps off the top rope and be like landing on a mattress,
Especially when you're 500 pounds, boom.
right?
You'd be like, yeah, well,
Bounce right off. Yeah, he would definitely absorb that.
but I've had this discussion with other people. It's like, well, which is it? Is it an A because you're good at it, or is it
Hmm.
an A because it's your defense against it?
I'd say if you're the one rolling on the chart, it's your defense against it. Just
Yeah.
my thought on it.
No, that's a good way of viewing it. But with with Lightning, I thought he was great. Yeah, he had 4 downs. I think his pin was a 3.
I should have
He had,
kept their cards out for comparison.
he had a double finisher, a death jump. He had 2 down. He had a good solid card. If it wasn't for those 4 downs, he might have,
Yeah.
held some titles.
Hmm.
And then Frenzy just went, yeah, I'm gonna suck so bad.
Yeah, he there's of the two though, he's probably the better, but
Well, he always was,
not
but
by a lot.
it was just his defense.
Yeah.
And now they even took that away from him.
Hmm.
The only way he can get something is on a reversal.
Yeah. It's funny. Sorry, my voice is shot.
Yeah. So that was that's the thing with him. And it was one of those things too where with Lightning, I was excited to use him all the time.
Hmm.
He like I said, he was one of my favorite characters. I remember in one of my battle bowls, he got paired with Mayhem,
Ooh, that's a fun team.
and I made them get along because uh, Mayhem. viewed Lightning as, kind of uh, he was a good worker, but I made him, just a bit odd as well.
Oh yeah, he was odd.
Yeah. And so, I had them get along,
Hmm.
and I even teamed him up a couple times after the tournament because
That's cool.
Mayhem kind of liked him.
That's cool. Makes sense.
And I remember I called them. I I I named the team right after the Muppets band, so I called them Electric Mayhem. It's
That
the
works
lightning,
too. Yeah, it makes total sense to me.
and I think they probably wrestled like 10 matches, and you know,
That's a fun team.
yeah, it was a fun little team for me. It was a little experiment. I just had two guys from either camp went, hey, they kind of liked each other,
Hmm.
buddies, and when they shouldn't be buddies.
Yeah, that's a proven formula that works in pro wrestling.
Yeah,
Look at all the different tag partners Kane had for that reason.
yeah. Kane and the Hurricane, or
Kane and the
Kane and Daniel Bryan.
Kane and X Pac,
Yeah.
um, Kane and RVD, and those are just the ones he won the titles with.
So he was a fun guy, like I said, but when he switched over to Frenzy, it all went downhill, and I just couldn't handle using him. And I think maybe if I looked it up on the cards, I didn't dig up their cards this time because I know they literally did nothing.
Right. And I don't have cards, so
Uh, so he I think maybe kept him for 4 years or so,
that's about how long he hung around. 2099 was his last year.
and what this is 2093,
94.
94.
Yeah.
That's 5 years. I might have retired him early, and I might have brought in Psycho Hog a year early.
Just to get him out there.
Yep, because it didn't matter if he got upgraded.
Yeah.
So for Frenzy though, I think I'd give him his double finisher back.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna take away a down on level 3.
Well, I'm used to four downs, so
I'll take away one of the ones with the tag just for balance.
and
Just to
that's
make them a little better.
yeah, that's something that's the most I could do.
Yeah.
Those guys, it was a disappointing, you know, upgrade as for his new cards for their new
Hmm.
cards. I was severely disappointed in those guys, but it's one of those things. Not everybody can get better.
Right. Because that's what would cause a power creep.
Yep, that's what we should do. How do you make these guys worse?
Yeah. Redo all the old episodes.
How do you bring them back down to normal?
Yeah. Do that with the later sets.
The reverse creep. How
Yeah.
would you reverse creep this guy? Well,
It's not a bad idea.
and but yeah, like I said, there's not much we can talk to on those two. But our topic could get interesting. It is super groups you've created in your promotions.
All right. The most ridiculous one that I made, my dad and I, when we played when we got the game in June of 1997. We were at Galacticon that year in July. So like 3 weeks later, we were at Galacticon. We played the hell out of that introductory set and the random, special edition cards that we would get along the way. So we had a ton of history already with just that first set. And a group that we put together was the Legends of Wrestling. Way before Legends of Wrestling was a game. I mean, I know it's so original of a title, but it was Thantos, Star Warrior, Commander Sam, um, Kraken, and Omega, and they just took over our GWF for about 6 months because we only had the introductory set, and then it was like we had all these other odd combinations trying to team up to stop them, and they just didn't stand a chance, other than like a wolf or something like that. But that was probably the most bizarre and most dominant one that I put together myself, not outside the book. We had fun with it. Turned Omega heel first, and then he put together the super group just to take over the Fed.
Yeah, I use the uh so in like the Rocket Men,
Mm-hmm.
I use them as where I can just mix and match guys. Like the FDF was always going to be a super group because they were battling, the Citadel and all the
Yeah, the big evil of the
yeah.
time.
So you'd have like I remember having Chaos, Thantos, Kraken, and the Mercenaries on a team,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, that's you know a pretty tough team.
Yeah, for sure.
And then along came I think I put Janus and made it a 6-man team.
Oh wow, slight upgrade there with Janus.
And then but the mercenaries left and in came the superiority complex. I think I had it. So it was always and I still have the Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some teams like I have Commander Sam and I have his group called the Conglomerate
Okay.
because he's not war pro war Sam. He's businessman Sam.
Businessman Sam.
So he's his group, he runs it like a business. It's the Conglomerate. And so he brings guys in who he's still the hero, but he
Mm-hmm.
brings guys in he knows that can match up against whichever super group he's going to face.
To
So
get the job done.
yeah, so he has a rotating group.
That's cool.
But I remember some fun ones. My buddy Rob in the I think in the first 36, so after the first set, he
Mm-hmm.
had Lord Nexus turn heel and he joined um Killer Queen and Exo King and Death Knight.
Okay, because he had Lord in his name.
He had the Lord. So
Mm-hmm.
Exo King and Lord Nexus became quite a decent tag team.
Yeah, I would have never thought to put those guys together. That's an interesting pairing. Power and speed.
Yeah. But it was a way to excuse me. It was just a different version of a neat supergroup
Mm-hmm.
because I've always liked the you know the royalty theme,
Yeah, it's fun.
and I think Tom liked it too. That's why he introduced the Count,
Mm-hmm.
Necros, and then the Mad Jester.
Yeah, and it's recently come back in the current storyline too.
So it was always fun, but um because I was thinking about that when we did our 1 year anniversary show,
Mm-hmm.
and I talked Jeff into putting, Lord Nexus and Massive on a team,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm like, they could actually contend. I hadn't thought about it, but I'm like, they could. And remember, they took the Gladiators to like a 25-minute match.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
all
that's
about
what
the
I'm
right
thinking.
pairing.
Yeah, you get a super group and have them work well together.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did with my war games. I could make super groups because I had the managers get banned. So the managers are like, "Yeah, you're on my team, but it's my career at stake."
Yeah. Something on the line for me.
Yeah, I'm picking guys who are gonna win. So that's when I had, uh, that's when you make some definitely odd tag teams. I think I had Octagon and Star Warrior as a tag team.
It's a fun team though.
Yeah, but because the first time I did War Games was when did the first War Games happen? It was like 2091 or something like that.
I think so.
And so, they just go around and pick guys, and I'm like, ooh. And then, you got to make some tag teams and stuff like that. So it allowed you to, that's one thing I liked about war. Now, regular war games to my war games, I did it that way so I could make the super groups and try different things.
Uh-huh.
So you can have fun making all kinds of super groups, and then you decide, how big your group going to be.
It
Three,
was 2091, just to confirm.
okay,
War games. So you're right.
three, four, five, or six. How big do you want your super group to be?
Mm-hmm.
I think the most common super group everybody made was the Gladiators and Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was like an official, non-official super group
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was in mine before I
that
even
I
knew other
think
people did that.
everybody used.
Mm-hmm. It just made sense, like
Yep.
the wolf connection and stuff like that. Just he fit.
Oh yeah, like as soon as the Yanny Men come in, I had Wolf join the Yanny Men. He wasn't a loner.
Yeah. And then I think everyone kind of did that too.
Yet he needed backup, and they were his backup.
Mm-hmm.
The Gladiator Yanny Men feud was huge. So
It was, and it's still going. Like
you
50
make
years later in the game
yeah,
timeline, it's still going.
you make two solid super groups
Mm-hmm.
and had them go at it. Every so often you get, there'll be somebody who's not that super in it, like Reptillo or Brute.
Yeah. But it's good to have cannon fodder to further a story sometimes.
Oh yeah, everybody needs a Virgil.
Yeah. He's the greatest wrestler of all time. Just ask him.
And so but building and developing one, anybody can throw them together, but can you
Make it
make
make
a
sense.
storyline and have it make some sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's easy just to throw them all together and have them dominate. That's kind of what we did, but
Yeah, well, we were just doing the top four,
hmm
so we each made a group of six. But making some groups is always interesting. Like currently in my lower tier fed, I got Exo King, Killer Queen, Dreadnought, and Mr. Galaxy,
cool.
and they're calling themselves the GWF Originals, and they're in the CPC. So, so it's kind of funny when they do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But
Bed Wars. That history is
is
still there.
yeah, is it a super group? Well, in that promotion,
It,
it is.
and name recognition it is.
Yeah, like it's some huge names. But that's the funny part is because Comrade Terror is way Dreadnought. He's way past his prime. He's on
Hmm
his death card,
Oh, the death card.
and Mr. Galaxy. He was always a cool guy. So,
hmm
and he's a face right now, and he's gonna turn back after a year. He's just he's not gonna like it. But that's what I'm thinking of bringing in the Duke.
Yeah, the Duke would fit well with them.
Yeah,
I like the Duke a lot. Again, I'm gonna say it. I say it every week. Characters like that and stuff like that make me in my horrible history make me want to reboot my vet.
and it's one of those things I've thought about it too. I'm like, okay, if I brought in the Duke and Red Talon, so then you have the Duke, Exo King, Killer Queen, and Death Knight. So
Hmm
suddenly you have a four-man group. Well, who's that four-man group going to fight? Because you need
Yeah.
because it's not like Red Talon. He's a bad guy, so
hmm
Red Talon you'd probably have to introduce him as a face just to keep it balanced.
Right, right. And he could just be the precursor to the Animen team coming in
Yeah,
the following year. Yeah, he Duke has a story that works pretty well. Like the whole power struggle between him and
yeah.
Exo King. That's fun. I'd like to play that out, honestly. But Red Talon, I don't know where he like you said, I don't know where you put him in because he doesn't really balance things.
No, he's just another jobber
Hmm
at that level.
Right. And there's other guys you could bring in too. I know there's cards that they released with the Kickstarter. I was gonna have them come in early just to build the roster quick. Maybe not have them hang around a long time. But there's like a handful of cards. There's the Major Pete Beck card. I want to use that
I
in
got
my.
that.
I want to put that into my official history somehow. because I just like it because I like Pete. You know?
Yeah, I got him coming in. Commander Sam's bringing him in.
That's what I
Makes
was gonna
sense.
do
You know,
too.
yeah, it's just one of those things that makes sense.
I was kind of gonna use that as like an alternate to like if Adam Blast or somebody ever got hurt, like he's ready there to plug in. I still think that U.S. Air is Kronos Pete Beck,
Just need a
a
Colonel
mullet.
Pete Beck.
Yes, we need a Colonel. But he pointed out when I told him that the Colonel characters have always been bad guys, and he doesn't want to be a bad guy.
Not always. Stargate, all the colonels were good.
That's true. I think he
Well,
meant in wrestling.
they're not all bad. In wrestling, well, yeah, you had who'd you have Colonel De Beers,
Hmm.
but Sergeant Slaughter was a good guy and bad guy.
He was a
Corporal
sergeant.
Kirchner, yeah, Corporal. I don't know how many other military guys I can think.
Yeah, Sergeant Craig Pitbull Pittman.
Okay,
It's WCW.
yeah,
Um, the Trooper who became the Patriot.
yeah, but he didn't have a rank.
No, he didn't. He was just a grunt, I guess.
Yeah, but even grunts, he's below. He's a private.
We need to find out what the Trooper's rank was. It's important.
All this willy nilly ranks. See, not every colonel has to be a bad guy.
No, I think a colonel's a major accomplishment, and I think he needs an upgraded card.
Even if he becomes the manager now,
Yeah, yeah.
he's a colonel, but he's the manager.
Hmm. I like it.
Yeah, it works. See, Pete, we're building your backstory.
This is like an 8 card set now at this point. Uh,
But that's a fun thing too. Once you build your super group, you have to build the opposing force,
yep, yep.
and then you're forced to create storylines and such and so on. And
Like, can these two guys get along just to, or this group of guys get along to take on this threat to the Fed that, you know, yeah, I like that. I like when they do it in real world wrestling. I like when they do it when we come up with things in the game that work. It's always an interesting story.
yeah, like I just ran one where because I run a tier system, so wrestlers can get dropped down.
Hmm.
I had Mace get dropped down from the top fed from the GWF to my NGA,
Hmm.
and so it broke up War,
Yeah.
and Holocaust got sent down too. So it was just Raven and Dregs, and I can't remember off the top of my head who they ended up feuding, but Mace ended up uh, befriending Jack of Diamonds in the NGA, and they formed an amazing tag team. Just it, they blended and worked really well. Like
Hmm.
they captured the tag titles down there 2 or 3 times, and they come up and they're challenging for the heavyweight tag right now. But they come up and Mace, they rejoin War, but Mace is like, hey, I don't need to team up with you anymore.
And
I got my own guy,
now there's a
and
feud.
well, it's not a feud, but now it's more of a competition because Raven and Dregs are also challenging for the title. So it's you got two
Hmm.
teams in the same group challenging for the same tag
Yeah.
title. But Dregs is also getting a singles push, and so he's battling for the TV title, and so it just added a bit of interesting dynamic. And Jack of Diamonds is just like, hey,
What about me?
all of a sudden I'm you know he's in the spotlight because he's feuding gladiators.
Lucky him.
So it's just one of those things that worked out. You can create a super group. Just you know the dynamic did work though.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Good times.
Probably wrap this up now.
Yeah, let's put a bow on this one. Thank you all for listening. If you like what you heard, please hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and please check out all our friends making Filsinger Games related content below. We have the official Filsinger Games podcast roll up, the Legends team's Uncharted Territory, Dizzy Dice from Lee Longpree, and the Filsinger Games fan cast from Grant. Here on YouTube, we have Heartland Championship Wrestling from Dave Little, and After Further Review. And also, Grant has a channel here called Solo Promoter, which is an excellent thing to check out. So make sure you're following all of them. I'm on Twitch, and all our socials are there. So please check us out. Again, if you have any Filsinger Games related content you'd like us to share, please drop us a message and we'll put it below.
Good night, Capus Gazing.